From ancient philosophy, I learned that there are many definitions about philosophy. Some modern writers define that philosophy in technically is critical evaluation. I could like to think towards critical evaluation because I realized my personal definition through those works. In my opinion, I think that philosophy is not only is critical evaluation, the facts of life. However, it is also the experience of daily life. How to connect the meaning of experiences and critical evaluation. The experiences are composed by two aspects, sense and knowledge. The ancient philosophers also used those aspects to draw meaning of the life. It can be said that the critical of ancient philosophers were sense and the evaluation of them were knowledge. Ancient philosophy was the first stage of philosophy. So, the first generations of philosophers such as Ionian physicists, Eleatics, Heraclitus, Empedocles, to Plato and to Aristotle, they constructed a basis for following philosophers till now. I wonder what were the basis of their thoughts. The answer was experiences, particularly senses and contemporary knowledge. In brief, what is ancient philosophy? I connect in two ways of definitions. Ancient philosophy is critical evaluation through daily experiences of real life. The second point I would like to introduce about philosophy was a circle, philosophical circle. I name it. Going on the above definition, I would like to continue my point of view that the philosophy is a circle, and this circle begins with the observations and experiences in daily life. Then, those observations and activities are generalized to the definitions or concepts in human mind. Next, they are day by day, little by little generalized to be philosophy if people can give enough evidence. Certainly, their existence. Final, and they draw from their definition, from their experience to become a philosophy, and they teach the other. Again, and then return to first state observation, and this circle repeats and repeats in their life. I suppose this idea, for I saw on ancient philosophers did that, and modern philosophers also do that. How about Thales, when he saw the importance of water? Without water, human cannot live well, and so he claimed that water is the most important, and this composes another. Anaximenes also, he saw the air, he breathed the oxygen, and he claimed that the air is the most important. Anaximander also acclaimed about the spaceless and timeless world unlimited. Also, Heraclitus also showed that the importance of fire. Fire is important. Plato also developed the idea about the system of knowledge with two components, sense and think. Aristotle also showed clearly that objects were composed by matter and form. Those objects are being in the phenomenon world, and people can realize those phenomena through a process with four ways or four causes: material, formal, efficient, and final cause. I wonder how can those ancient philosophers can draw philosophies from these experiences. And I realized that they are entered this philosophical circle. They just saw and they draw the experience and they generalize to become a definition, concepts, and little by little become a philosophy, and they talk to the other and continue to observe. It repeats and repeats. And final point I would like to introduce about the practice to philosophical actions in daily life. Now I'm a student who studies philosophy and I just finished the ancient philosophy. Thanks to this course, I realized my responsibility for my philosophical study. Sometimes I wonder what that are my grandparents or my parents philosophers? I make this question because they also observe and draw experience from life. However, after finishing this course, I realized that my grandparents and my parents just stopped their observations at the individual or familial benefits. Also, they do not care about the origins of any phenomena around themselves. They just receive the experience of ancestors and continue receive new ones in innocence since. Therefore, when I live in family, I also study a lot from them, but I cannot know exactly the origin of phenomena. Otherwise, the philosophers, especially is ancient philosophers, do not just stop at this point as my grandparents or my parents. Furthermore, they try to touch the boundary of human knowledge by efforts of themselves. From this view, I also know what should I do. This is a great chance to study the philosophy, especially the ancient philosophy basis on of other philosophies. I want to let them in heart, and in my mind I think carefully. Everything passed through my life is not vain. Therefore, I want to take into consider as good chance to study and widen my mind. I am also invited to enter the circle of philosophy. This circle leads me to the meaning of dignity and fulfillment myself. Thank you for your listening and watching.